Good evening, everyone, and welcome to not just another, but the most powerful Monday Night Magic ever with your favorite Epigenetic Geeks, myself, Lori Falk, and my esteemed co-host, who I love dearly, Ken Close, Epigeneer. We are so excited that you are here with us this evening. We are living in such, let's just call it crazy times right now. I don't think there's anybody in our audience or anybody in this country that hasn't gone through a lot of emotion in the past week or so. And tonight, what we really, really, really want to bring home is that you control your destiny. No one else and nothing else, because you have the ability to manage your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions, to decide how you're going to react to everything around you. And when you do that, you can be at peace. You can be hopeful. You can be in a state of grace. And we're going to talk to you tonight about some incredible, amazing ways that you can take the power back. Because what I have witnessed day after day, conversation after conversation in the past several weeks is people giving their power away. Whether it's to a situation, whether it's to a party, whether it's to a politician, whether it's to someone in authority, whether it's to a concern. And we say, no, that stops now. We're going to share with you tonight all the ways that you can reel yourself back in, take control, and the future will be so bright, you're going to need sunglasses, regardless of what's going on out there. Right, Ken?
I love it. I love it. My future's so bright, I've got to wear shades, right? I think there's a song about that somewhere, but um, you know, so to Lori's point, I love this because you saw in the advertising around this tonight's call where we tend to focus on a single page of our lives, right? Today, or even maybe some people are thinking about yesterday. Well, probably none of you guys, you're in the present moment, right? But there probably are people out there that are concerned about the past and then fretting over the future. And we're so consumed by this present page and whether it's to our empowerment or not. And if it's to our empowerment and we're on one side of the equation, then there's someone else on the other side of the equation that's their disempowerment, right? If we're in a competition, someone's got to lose if I'm going to win. And so there's too much of that. And part of that, when we were talking before we started recording in Lori and I's planning for this, is it was a super emotional moment because I've been feeling a lot of this very specific duality, separation, right? And when I say duality or separation, I'm not talking about just in my opinion versus your opinion, but it is the my health and my not so health, right? There's a separation even within each of us. We have the power. And if I was to say to you, can I put the power in your lap? I'm going to ask you this question. I want you guys to either put it in the chat or write it down on a notebook somewhere in front of you. You don't have to share it if you don't want to publicly share it. But if I could, and I can I put the power, your creation in your lap? Can I do that? If you were to accept, believe, and surrender that you had the power for creation, would you accept it in your lap? Would you take it? Would you take that power and say, it's mine? I'll take that responsibility 100%. And I want you to think about that for a moment, because the point is that you do have it. You do have the power of creation. Now, I know I could, I'm not going to separate the audience by talking religious or politics or any of that, but creation creation is something that happens in every single second of our lives. You've got 400 billion bits of information swarming around your awareness. Now, whether you're conscious of it or subconscious, it's still 400 billion bits of information within your consciousness. Okay, think about this for a second. Now, what you're aware of, what you're seeing right now, you're hearing my voice, you're seeing the screen, you're smelling the things in your room, you're feeling the chair or the couch or whatever under your body. All these sensory inputs is only 2,000 bits of that content. 2,000. 400 billion versus 2,000. What you're aware of consciously in this present moment is 2,000 bits of information. Now, I know, you guys, some of you guys will say, but I'm awakened and I'm aware and I have a bigger spiritual content within me. Still, I'm not judging anybody. I'm not trying to limit anybody. 2,000 bits. This is neuroscience. This is not me making it up. This is science coming to the table here. Let's just level the playing field for a second. 2,000 bits of conscious information from your senses. That's a lot still. But there's 400 billion bits of information that's at our fingertips. And so when I say creating something, when I say you are creating something, that's that 400 billion bits of information creating 800,000 cells per second. This is just part of you. This is your gift. And so if I say here, if I put that in your lap, will you take it? And if you answered yes, awesome. And like I said, you can put in the chat, you can write down a notebook in front of you. But if you answered yes, I want you to really ponder this next question. What did you do with it today? What did you do with all that power today? Now let's just say, let's define the day. I'm an engineer. I want to put parameters out there clear, right? I'm going to make them very clear and mathematical. I'm going to show you how it works. All right, great. So let's just define today. Let's say you've been up for 12 hours. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up right now, but let's say you've been up for 12 hours. Okay, so that's 43,200 seconds. Do the math. You'll see it's 43,200 seconds, right? That you were awake. This is a 12-hour day. Now, out of that 43,200 seconds, what did you do with it? Right? Because every one of those seconds, 800,000 cells in your body were created. 800,000. Now, if you do the math, take 43,200 times 800,000. That's like 3 billion trillion. It's a lot of cells. I'm just saying. There's a lot of zeros at the end of that. Okay. A lot of zeros. That's a lot of you being created in this one single day. And so what did you do with that power? The power of creation, what did you do with it? Anybody spend any time on social media? How about surfing a little bit on the web? I don't know. What about, probably none of you guys, but what about worrying about tomorrow? Anybody worry about tomorrow? Anybody concerned about, maybe something they said yesterday they shouldn't have? I mean, any of that going on out there? I'm not saying you guys are, but what if there was time spent, fearful or sad or angry, or frustrated, or even in joy, right? Or gratitude. There's all of these options in which you spent time, right? And 800,000 cells per second are still being created under your magic wand, under your orchestration. And as Lori said at the beginning, we want to really show you your power and make sure that you're actually using it to its fullest advantage. And the place where it shows up is, no judgment, please. I mean, I get these messages every now and then in the background from other folks that are like, man, you are being a bit harsh, Ken. I'm like, no, I'm being truthful. I'm being honest. I want to make sure that we understand that no matter if you like the conditions that are happening today or dislike them, 800,000 cells are still going to change in your body, and they're going to be doing one of two things. That entire process is either going to be at a higher rate of consumption or a higher rate of contribution in one way or another. Consuming in energy to just sustain the life force in your body, or contributing back at a higher rate to the world in which you live. Either one of those is possible. And it's also happening within the body. The body, when you're creating new things, is efficiently creating and consuming energy at a lower rate when it's in a parasympathetic or rest and digest, versus when it's in the sympathetic or fight or flight. And so there's things that are going on within us, again, like that emotional content I talked about. Are you in fear? Are you in sadness? Lori's got something about trying to be, what is it called? Trying on being you. Yes. Tell us
When
about
I try on being you. Okay. Here's something that I'm deeply passionate about in observing what has gone on in the United States in the last month, specifically the last couple of weeks. The number one thing that has been missing in 99% of the conversations out there hasn't been any compassionate listening. What do I mean by that? When we are listening to someone else, we are hearing what they are saying through our lens, through our life experiences, through our beliefs, rather than trying to compassionately and empathetically understand why the other person feels the way they feel and believes the way they believe. Compassionately listening. I pride myself on the fact that I have become politically neutral in all conversations. I can have a conversation with anybody at all on either side, and no one ever knows what quote unquote side I may or may not be on, because it doesn't matter. I want to know what they have to say. I want to know what they believe. I want to know what they're thinking. I want to know why. I want to know why. And because I ask and I listen compassionately to what they're saying and stay neutral about it and don't argue about it, just accept that that's them. Okay. But I've been trained in this exercise. Probably I learned the skill about 25 years ago when I was in the School of Spiritual Psychology. And it was called When I Try on Being You. When I try on being you, I'm sad because. When I try on being you, I'm mad because. When I try on being you, I'm scared because. And when I try on being you, I'm glad because. So when you can listen to someone and really, really, really try to understand what's triggering them, what's upsetting them, what's scaring them, as opposed to being in a state of judgment. I think that's one of the most beautiful gifts you can give to anyone in the world. And the way it was actually taught in our class was we had to listen to someone's entire emotional biography of their life. So not just what happened to them, but how it made them feel. And it was one of the best gifts and the greatest tools I've ever learned, because it taught me to really develop and hone that skill set of what's going on in the other person's heart, mind, and soul. And as a coach, I use this over and over again, particularly when there's relationship issues in my clients' lives. And I ask them, rather, okay, they had a fight with their spouse, whatever. I say, all right, now what I want you to do is I want you to write this out. When I think about this situation that triggered me in whatever way it did, I want you to write down, when I try on being you, I'm sad because. When I try on being you, I'm mad because. And use these sentence stems and write out what you really think is going on for them. And guess what? You're not mad anymore. By the time you're done with this exercise, you are not mad anymore. And you have such a much deeper understanding of the person you've been in conflict with or talking to or whatever it is. So I really encourage each and every one of you, and of course I'll put it in the chat, and of course I'll put it in the email. Please use this. It's one of the most valuable tools I've ever been given.
We are, as humans, designed to be a mirror, right? Mirror neurons. It's part of us that helps us to mimic our environment or to survive within our environment. These are natural concept or natural states of being. We have these mirror neurons that when we look out into the world, that we can relate. And so Lori's project here, this modality here, helps us relate because we look at life through our lens. And I'm not just talking about the eye, but all of our senses. That's the lens that we take in content from. And when we take in this content, remember I said 400 billion bits of information, 2,000 bits of that is just our conscious awareness. So we take in this content, everything you see, taste, touch, and smell and feel is all that 2,000 bits. And the 800,000 cells per second I told you about. Now write all these numbers down because there's going to be a quiz at the end. So you better be writing these all down.
Okay, all right. True confessions. I learned something today. I've been doing Monday Night Magics with this amazing man for 3 years. You know what he's doing right now? He is running the memory program in the learning programs on his healing. That's how he remembers all this stuff. So don't let him hit you with all these scary numbers. Anyway, I digress. Right. Go on.
No, that's right. I mean, if we can hack the system, and instead of being in worry of something and consuming energy, we're in some kind of contributory mechanism, right? And we are amplifying energy. But the key thing, 800,000 cells per second are being recreated whether you want them to or not. And believe me, you do want them to. But the mother load of the coding system that says what quality and kind that cell is going to be is up to you. 97% of that genetic code is an adaptive gene, no different than the mirror neurons that help us survive in our environment. Mirror neurons help us to see the outside world and meld into it, fit into it. How many of you guys know what it feels like to not fit in? I'll bet you everybody has a little bit of understanding around what it feels like not to fit in. How's it feel? How's it feel? Especially when you were younger, right? Maybe now it's like, I don't even care, right? I'm old as dirt and I don't care. No, I'm kidding. But that's the kind of, at some point we start not caring so much about how we're fitting in. But the biology of our body still does. Our thoughts, our personality may not care, but the biology always does because it has to survive wherever you are. And so no matter how different you believe yourself to be, the mirror neurons, this process, this neurology of us must fit in. It must find a way of surviving. And so just like the genetic coding, 800,000 cells per second, 97% of that is an adaptive gene so you can fit in. They work closely together. They're intricate in their modality. And so that you become a body and a consciousness, essentially, that fits your demographic. Now, believe me, folks, way too much of that has happened in a way in which we've surrendered our power. And that means what we would call a default mode mechanism. We've moved into a lot of default operations, not you guys. I know you guys are different, but there's a lot of that happening in our world where a lot of folks have surrendered to convention. I don't care what it is, scientific convention, social convention, religious, political, medical. The conventional system is the default mechanism, and it's a big wheel. It's a big wheel. It's a big ship. It doesn't move very fast, and it doesn't bounce very far off course. But there's a lot of us that are hearing something different, aren't we? You're hearing a different calling. There's something nudging your awareness, tapping on your subconscious, speaking to you in the quiet. The giant on the shoulder that's saying, hey, enough's enough. And you're starting to feed a different conscious wheel. And if we do it together, if we give our grace and not our judgment, if we give our grace and we allow these bodies to that tune of 800,000 cells per second to adapt to what we can do and what our soul has guided us to do, we start building a community of people that are really steering the ship in a different way. And this is where I began with was saying, look, I put the power of creation in your lap, and what will you do with it today? And the amount of time that we spend worrying about yesterday, or fretting over what we don't have, or scrolling through things that don't serve us. These are 800,000 cells per second that are being built into a body that will not serve you. It will not serve you. So when we're worried about this thing, so tell us, Lori, about this. The other W.
The other W. So this is, those of you who have coached with me or taken any of my programs know that I talk about the 2W words. This is the one you don't want. Stop using your energy to worry. Use your energy to believe, create, love, grow, glow, manifest, and heal. So there's 2W words. Worry is really fear-based. You're thinking about the potentials and the possibilities out there, and oh my God, because of blah, 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 and now this one's going to happen, and da, 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 da. You guys know the drill. That's fear-based anticipation of the future. Well, the other W word is way more empowering because it's love-based. It's wondering. I wonder what's possible. I wonder if, despite blah, 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 something amazing can happen. I wonder. Get back into that childlike wondering of all the possibilities that exist, because we're creating all of this. I mean, Ken asked you if he could put the power of creation in your hands. And you know what I say? You better flip and say yes, because you haven't. You are the creator of your own reality. And you can just go ahead and let all this nonsense out there get you worried, or you can wonder what is really possible. Because I promise you that as crazy as it may seem out there, and as crazy as it may even get, the light always wins. Love prevails. And on the other side of all of this, it's going to be so amazing. And you can have heaven on earth in your heart and in your soul every single day, regardless of what's going on in the outside world. You just need to switch from worrying to wondering.
That changes the autonomic nervous system, ladies and gentlemen, 100%. And if we are going to measure anything about you and your healing, remember what I said before, your body is either consuming or contributing. And if we measured one system within your body, and let that be the marker for health. That would be your autonomic nervous system. Because when it is in the state of fight or flight, it's in tremendous consumption mode. Everything must collapse inside, inwardly, so that it can survive. The body is just going to be on autopilot in terms of surviving. All of that conventional mechanism that's been built into this gray matter from this ancient brain, all it knows is how to survive. And it's going to use every bit of your understanding, your experience to this present moment to make you do so, to the tune of poor choices, frankly. I mean, that's just the way it works. So the other side of that equation is the rest and digest. That's the contribution side, where it's starting to build. And it's where long-term building projects happen in the body to rebuild itself. And I'm going to say something very boldly, and because I've witnessed it. Your ability to heal any biological condition sits in your lap. Okay. Sit with that for a second, because any condition, how many times when we have some suffering, we look outside of ourselves for an answer, right? I mean, to the tune of a simple headache, or a muscle ache or something like that. We're looking for pain relievers. We're looking for something. And yet the power to heal sits in our lap, and even in that moment. And if we simply ingested another 16, maybe 20 ounces of water, that headache or that discomfort may go away, right? If we just did a little bit of grounding, maybe a little bit of movement, got up, moved our body around, circulated the fluids in our system, engaged the lymphatic system to detox ourselves, then those discomforts would go away. But we're not doing that. We're giving our power away, and that's not serving us properly. So worry is a consumption. Wonder is a contribution. And wonder flies right along with curiosity. It's my hack. Be curious about everything. Ask the question, what is this? What is this telling me? Why is this for me? Write that down. Why is this for me? Because how many times you say, why is this hurting me? Why does this suck? You guys don't do that, but anybody, you might know somebody that goes, this just sucks. Why does this suck? You're going to find out, because the universe is a super powerful force that's going to show you. And so the moment that we change the worry to wonder, we can start being more curious. And it's not until we start to get something that we can believe in our mind that it will show up in our body. And there's a very powerful statement that came to me in one of my meditations. And it says that the body will not feel what the mind cannot believe. It came to me like a bolt of lightning one day. It was about a month ago. It's like, Ken, the body will not ever feel what the mind cannot believe. And so if you don't believe in wonder, but you do believe in worry, guess what the body will be likely to feel? So there's some hacks here, folks. One of the hacks is curiosity. If you could just be curious instead of convicted, right? Because we know what we know. And I'm not saying all you guys are brilliant geniuses. Every single person on here is a brilliant genius. And Lori mentioned something about light. Billions of years ago, there was nothing but a big gas ball, such dense hydrogen gas that not even light could escape. And look it up in Genesis if you guys are, into the religious side of things. And I know that I believe 100% in the entire creation of this world, of this life, of this higher creator. I believe in all that because there were tools given, and those tools came from a higher self, a higher consciousness, a higher being. And that's the tools we still use today to build these bodies with. And then in the beginning, there was no light. There was nothing but darkness. But what was in that darkness was the most dense information available known to man. And the moment that that started to dissipate, that cloud started to thin out enough to one photon escaped, then there was let there be light. Yes, let there be light. And from that moment on, there's always been light. Always. The creation of stars started to come because of the separation of layers of gas and the compression so hard on certain molecular structures. It created these stars. And as these stars over the millions of years collapsed and reignited and collapsed and reignited, built these layers, that's where every mineral in your body came from. Every single mineral came from. And now we have the Hubble telescope. We can look back in time, folks. We can look back at light that is still millions of years in the past. So we can look at a star and it's that old. And we can take a look at its layers, its creation. We can now see a star being formed within this gaseous layer. We can watch it be formed in real time. And we can now look and note exactly how a star is made. And we go, oh my God, I can see exactly where every single one of the minerals on the periodic table came from that. Now, we are going to sit here in this present moment thinking we're not powerful. Come on. Because every mineral in your body came from the creation of time. And every process that your body has cultivated into the way it recreates itself right now is a result of billions of years of refining a perfect system. And that's you. That's you. Every body that still is living right now still operates within a perfect system, a perfect regenerative system, but we give our power away in consumption. And that's where the body increases its aging rate. So if we can maintain a very specific balance, and I like to operate in a more of a contribution state than a consumption state. There's technology in which we can measure our body's rate of change. It's called HRV. You all know what that is. You've heard of it before. Heart rate variability. And within that heart rate variability measurement, this is science. There is so much content around your body's healing modality, and it's all of its systems function. It's all right there within that heart rate variability. And if we can maintain a very low stress marker within that HRV, our body is consuming less and contributing more. Many of you might know, I mean, Dr. Joe does studies, right? He's been doing studies on human beings for decades, and now getting very, very big in the studies of what's called the mystical molecule. Essentially, when those 800,000 cells recreate themselves, there are molecular structures that are given off from each one of those cells' division. And that molecular structure is different from one cell to the other. And yet that entire enormous emission has a pattern. So think about it. 800,000 cells per second, each cell producing millions of different types of emissions energetically. And they all have a pattern. And when you align that pattern, your body's in healing. Okay? You're not necessarily doing any of this. You're not doing the 800,000 cells per second, and you're sure as heck not adjusting the molecular expression from each one of those, but you have an influence. You have an influence. You're the mother lode influence over it. And so your state of being, your present state of being, determines the frequency input on that expression. So if you're mad, remember Lori was saying, you know, how is it being if I'm mad, if I'm sad, if I'm glad, and when you're being empathetic to someone else, right? Or you're having your own expression. Both of those are valuable pieces of content. They're creating those 800,000 cells per second. The difference is when they're you being mad about your crap, as opposed to you being mad about someone else's, there's an umbrella of compassion over the top of it. So the more you're compassionate about another one's, you can find the empathy within another. I'm not saying sympathy. Don't get me wrong. Don't write sympathy down. Sympathy is not serving, folks. I'm sorry. Empathy is useful. Compassion is useful because those allow us an observation with a removal of being a victim to it, right? We can walk a mile in someone else's shoes in our mind. And that's what gives us a lot of power of insight. And it also changes that molecular expression off those 800,000 cells per second when it's compassion, when it's empathy. And you build a different model, a different consumption rate. And the better we are at contributing over consumption, the better we are at healing. Dr. Joe's measurement system is an HRV monitor. It's a watch, right? All the study participants wear a watch that monitors HRV, various different biorhythmic content, and that's fed into an app, and the contents from that app is uploaded into the study research participants file, individual file. And now all that material is studied to find out day by day what the effects are. And then, of course, there's a questionnaire, like how many days a week do you meditate? So that then that's put in the equation. And so if you're meditating every day, right, that's put into the equation, and those readings from the HRV and all the content in the app are evaluated. And then biological content is collected before and after an event to find out the differences there. And then the follow-up happens, like the study I was in, the follow-up was a whole year of biological content, I should say biological rhythmatic content from this watch to feed the study material to see what happens to me. I am now able to hold of my 16 hours of waking day or 18 hours of waking day, over 80% of that in rest. Over 80% of that in rest. Now, I'm not saying this to brag. This is not the point. The point is that you can be doing physical things in your life. You can be doing complicated things in your mind, and you can still hold your body 800,000 cells per second in rest, in that parasympathetic nervous state, meaning that your consumption over that division of cells, when you're dividing cells, still takes energy, but the consumption is way lower. You follow me? Understand this equation. Every one of you, every one of us has the ability to manage that. But we give our power away when we attach to a conventional system that's not working. I don't care if you're justified or not. I mean, that's not a callous statement. I care about you tremendously, but I don't care if you're justified in being pissed off or not, because your body doesn't. Your body's objective. Just reading its energy field that you're feeding it from your psychology, from your emotional contribution. Your body's just reading the content, and it's reading one thing, a magnetic signal, frequency. That's it. And we can hack that frequency by our own mental aptitude and state of being, by being in wonder as opposed to worry. We can also hack that signal with our little fun tools, right? Healy is a great hack, right? The Mag Healy is another great hack. Crystals are a great hack. Aromatherapy is a great hack. I'm just saying there's so much, folks, that we can do to help to hack this frequency. But the biggest mother load, everyone, bar none, is your mind. Because no matter what, your body will not feel what your mind cannot believe. And I don't care how many hours a day you run your Healy. I don't care how many layers of crystals you've got covering your body. Your mind will outweigh them all. I'm just going to give you that bit of power. That's power, folks. That is not limitation. It is power. This is where I asked you in the very beginning. If I handed you the power of creation, put it in your lap, what would you do with it? Now you have it. Now you have it. And I can't tell you enough. I can't stress enough that your mind is your biggest asset. And if we are going to listen to the chatter and the 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day that we have, this is just typical, 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. If we're going to listen to that and let that be the puppeteer, we're losing already. We're losing already, because the observer of those thoughts, right? The outer shell of who's listening to those thoughts, that's the one that should be in charge. Okay. Let the thoughts come in at a rate of 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Let them come in. That doesn't mean they're true. Don't believe that crap. Right? 80% of them are the same as yesterday. And so,
And they can pick and choose the ones they want to focus on.
100%.
That's right. That's such a vital, vital, vital piece of this. I mean, let's just dial it back to our favorite topic on Monday Night Magic, epigenetics. Every one of those thoughts carries with it an emotion, which carries with it a chemical reaction, which is going to either fire or not fire the DNA. Your physical health is at stake here. You want to get these emotions under control, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through any of the hacks that we've been discussing, right? You gotta hack it because your life depends on it. And don't just take our word for it. I posted in the chat. Again, we talk about this all the time. Source, it's within you. It's Dr. Joe's documentary. Powered by Inner Science Research Fund, this documentary unveils groundbreaking discoveries about the profound impact of meditation on our mind and body. This powerful film celebrates Dr. Joe's work and the research being conducted by a team of dedicated scientists. So if you want to discover more about the mind's extraordinary potential to influence the body, this is where you can find this information. You will witness stories of transformation, healing testimonials, and explore the research that's helping propel meditation and this work to the forefront of modern history. This is changing the face of medicine as we know it. This information is at your fingertips. And you guys are the forerunners, right? You're the forerunners. You have big shoes to fill right now. You got to get out there and manage your thoughts and manage your emotions and compassionately listen and really, really show humanity what's possible. Because the masses don't have this information.
This is what I talk to so many people all the time. And I say, look, you know what? Here's the key. The rest of the world doesn't know what you do. And we might think they do because we might orbit in similar arenas where there's similar content that's going around and around. We're like, well, how, who am I to make a difference when there's so many people talking about this already? What we have to understand is, remember I said 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Also understand that there's that 400 billion bits of information going through your reticular activating system. It only hears a bandwidth of information. It only hears a certain bandwidth of information. Your voice individually speaks to millions of those bandwidth opportunities. Millions, not mine. I can produce this material all day long. And you guys are hearing me. Other people could be on this call and have maybe listened to our content and didn't hear a word, but they heard Lori, right? But they heard somebody's comment that then they started listening to what that other person had to produce. And this is what's important. We have to understand that we are unique in our voice. We are unique in our presentation. We are unique in our frequency. And there's only a certain bandwidth of humans out there that can hear mine. Only a certain bandwidth of humans that can hear Lori's. This is why her and I are together to do this to all of you. we're hoping that we become this hub that branches out to each spoke in which each one of you are a hub to build new spokes. You understand? So that you speak what you learn and you give what you've taken and you spread this out into the world, because I really know, I know, I mean, I know you've all heard this calling. I know you have. I've seen it. And I feel it. I feel every heart. And I keep getting the same message that says, keep saying it, Ken. Keep sharing it, because these aha moments that we each have, right? These are moments in time in which you didn't have that understanding 1 second ago. And the moment you have an aha opportunity, it rewires your entire nervous system. Your brain has new information. And that moment changes you. You're not the same. How many of you had an amazing aha moment in a meditation or an event or some presentation? Maybe you've had some here. Yay. Awesome. Right? At that moment, you can't go back to claiming ignorance anymore. You can't go back to unknowing what you now know. You can't untaste the orange juice, like I say. You can't unexperience the experience. It doesn't happen that way. The reason that we're alive, I fully know that the purpose of life is experience, not knowledge. We gain that along the way. But with knowledge, we gain experience. And I know that the purpose of life, the meaning of life is experience. And the moment we have an individual experience, it feeds the collective. The divine intelligence moving and changing every cell in your body is also tuned to your experience. And you feed the collective. You feed a collective consciousness. And that consciousness, the needle on that consciousness moves all the time. We can measure it. We do measure it. Heart Math Institute has hundreds of random generators placed all over the world to measure one thing: consciousness. These are random generators. That's exactly what's in Healy. That interfaces with our individual consciousness. Same technology, right? Same technology. Healy didn't make it up. Healy just uses it in a very genius way as an individual tool to bridge the information field and you. So we are either at all times a consumer or a contributor, including the consciousness. So when we get on board with frustration, anger, fear, judgment, all of that crap, justified or not, folks, I'm just going to keep reminding you and hammering this down. Justified or not, when we get on board with it, 800,000 cells per second become a you that amplifies the consciousness field. So who do you want to be? I asked you at the beginning, if I could put the power of creation in your lap, what did you do with it today? Now this was, remember I said 43,200 seconds. What'd you do with it today? Tomorrow, after midnight, one circadian rhythm, you have 86,400 seconds in one day. What will you do with this new knowledge tomorrow? That's all I want to know. All I want to know is, what will you do with that? And if you can change consciousness within yourself, I promise you, you're doing it outside. Good or bad, contributing or consuming. The body is the result. And the way your rate of change, the way you age, is dependent upon how much time you spend in either one of those.
So as we said earlier, your health depends on it. So you're not just doing this to be nice people. You're doing it to stay healthy and vitally alive. Like if somebody told you were going to live to be 98, wouldn't you want to kind of clean up your act and make sure? Ken and I were talking about that in the green room. You said, if you could find out what age you're going to be when you die, would you want to know? And I said, I already did that. Like seriously, when I was in the School of Spiritual Psychology, they had us go to our high self and ask that question. And we all like, like held our breaths and looked at each other like, oh my God. Oh my God. It was scary. It was really, really scary. And everybody got a variety of answers. And I heard 98 and I went, 58? Remember, my mom died at 49. So 98, that was like twice as long as her, right? So I was really like, and they went, 98, they or my high self. And I said, 68, 98, 78. Lori Ann, what part of 98 don't you understand? And I went, okay, I am so getting on track with my holistic health. I'm going to manage my emotions. I am going to make sure that I am doing the absolute best I can because if I'm going to be around now, I want to be healthy. I mean, it's easy to be around that long, but being healthy that long, that's going to take a little bit of doing. And
That's
Ken
the
and
difference.
I are so passionate, right?
Yep. That's the difference. You can be alive that long, but not be living that long. That's the
Right.
difference.
Right.
Life.
And if you can't tell, we are so on fire. We are like as committed as we have ever been to bringing you the absolute positive best information that we can every single month. And I'm just going to put a big ask out there. Let other people know. If you're going to do one thing tomorrow to better the planet, send this recording out. Share it with other people because the more people you share this kind of information with, the better our world will be.
Hey, folks, you be the expert. We're just here to build content and put it together, right? This is now a gift. Now you are the expert because when you share this information, you're going to branch out as the expert, right? Be the expert to share what we're talking about. That's it. It's not. I mean, this information is actually not mine. It's not Lori's. It's just true information. And the whole piece around how we build these bodies. Okay, if I was to share I'm going to share a super top secret. Okay, let me tell you something. How easy it is to have a body that's crazy amazing. If I told you that you didn't have to exercise any more than you do now, I mean, I'm just saying, just whatever you do now, don't add anything. But if I was to put certain things in your body, simple things available anywhere, and your body would build muscle, right? Your body would lose weight. I'm not talking, well, let me put it this way, would lose fat, would change the BMI. I have worked with so many people in the past that says, I want to lose weight. I say, well, how would you like to lose size? I mean, wouldn't you look better in a size 2 than a size 4 or a size 4 than a size 6? I don't care. What if I say change your size? You know, what size do you want to be? I want to be a size 4. Okay. What if I changed your size, but not a single pound left your body? I get this question all the time. What do you mean? I got to lose weight to get into a size 4. No, you don't. No, you don't. Guess what weighs more, muscle or fat? Per pound or per size, per square
Muscle.
inch. Per square inch, muscle weighs more than fat per square inch. So if I reduce the amount of fat in your body and the lean muscle mass stayed put or got better, you didn't lose any weight because it still is heavy, right? But the size would change. That's the key. And what if I told you I could do that without you adding any exercise? Would you be interested? What if I said all you need is a certain number of essential minerals, some amino acids, and some fatty acids? What if I said that's it? Let me just adjust your dietary intake to where it is efficient, it is contributing and not consuming. All of this is an equation, folks. As an engineer, I build equations, and when I follow the equation, you get a result. You'll get the same one. I can reproduce it over and over and over. And I don't care if you're a male, a female, white, black, young, old. I don't care. I don't care. The body turns over to the tune of 800,000 cells per second. That's consistent. The signaling mechanism is a magnetic signal. Guess what chemistry is? When you boil down chemistry, it's a magnetic signal. Guess what nutrition is? It's boiled down to chemistry. Whatever you eat turns to chemistry. Whatever is in chemistry, it winds up as a frequency of information utilized by the cell. So if we just tune all that up, we get the crap out of the way, then all of a sudden your body flourishes. And Lori and I do you want to share something?
Yeah, I want to say, and what if we told you that we are co-creating a 3-day workshop in the first quarter of 2025 with that very information? Who might be interested? Anybody?
So the concept and the idea is, number one, we need to clean up the crap that's going on right now. Okay. We need to clean up our crap. And this is convention. People are plugged into convention. So stop that. Stop that. If I put the power back in your lap, what will you do with it tomorrow? I want you to really take that seriously. What will you do with this power tomorrow? 800,000 cells per second, 86,400 seconds tomorrow. What are you going to do with it? Stop the stuff that doesn't serve you. So number one, what we're going to do is we're going to do a 3-day gut reset. We're going to do a 3-day gut reset. We're going to change the microbiome in your body in 3 days to take all the things that you're going to put in your body and efficiently, effectively, and perfectly contribute to who you are. Now, what if you had recipes? What if you had nutrient timing guides? What if you had understandings around how that gut biome works? What if you knew all those essential minerals I was telling you about? What if you knew all this stuff? Would it be valuable? Well, that's our thought. That's our creation.
That's our latest creation.
That's our latest creation. And so starting the new year with a new you, but not just one that is temporary, one that's going to change your life forever, and not just in a small way. Because remember last month, we talked about that romantic dance between neurotransmitters and your gut, the microbiome. So that was a taste of what's next. That's a taste. So you understand all that bit of information. And then the next phase of this is to now let's clean that up. Let me show you how to build a better mechanism of nutrient absorption. Let's open up the neurotransmitter production factory, which is your gut, and start feeding the brain, right, these neurotransmitters that make you feel good. How about that?
Happy.
Yeah. So there you go. Cat's out of the bag. Little secret. So whoever's going to be interested in being on board with that, it's going to be, we'll have a certain, we could take quite a few people. It's going to be just like this. It's going to be online, but you're going to have content in what to prepare. We're going to eat together, folks. We're going to eat together, right? We're going to eat things that serve you in a proper way. We're going to supplement together because we need, as again, from an engineering perspective, we can move the needle by consistent action in small bits and pieces. We can also move the needle in consistent action with high amplitude energy. And so this 3-day reset is high amplitude energy. It's going to give the body every crazy thing that you can think of that's going to move the needle in gut health in a really short period of time. So So whoever's going to be on board with us, we're going to eat together. We're going to talk together. We're going to work together. We're going to lock arms, and we're going to build a better you. And then I want you to teach it. All I want you to do is learn it to the extent in which you can teach it. That's it. It's yours. Right? All right.
And then we're going to have a Telegram group or something like that where you'll be able to interface and interact with each other and ask questions and give us your feedback and all that good stuff. So it's going to be, that's as much as we know right now. We've only talked about this for like, I don't know, 15 minutes today. So
I got about 10 pages of content that we're going to be, I've been studying this for a while. And it's like, all right, time to show it. You know,
trying to create some great PDFs for you.
You know what? I am an experiment on myself. I don't do anything or teach anything out there that I haven't done, tested, tried out with someone else, got feedback, refined it, and then did it again. It's part of how I work. And I mean, you know, I've done some very crazy work with my body, and then had a trainer to mark my progress, and then gone to very minimalistic processes to see what I can still do by mind alone. And my body's still the evidence. So like I mentioned, that monitoring system that we can take a look at our stress levels. And if I can keep this body in a certain repair state for, hours and hours, the mother load of my day, then I know anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can. So how about that?
Awesome and exciting. Awesome and exciting.
We'll share it, spread the word, folks, and just get ready. We'll have more stuff to follow. It won't be until, like Lori said, the first of the year, but what a great way to start your year.
Oh, complete gut restart. Oh, perfect way to start the year. Perfect way. Well, we're going to feel better. We're going to think better. We're going to be clearer. We're going to be there.
We'll have a springtime bikini outing. We'll all meet somewhere tropical, and who knows.
I'm all over that. Get me back in a bikini. I love you forever.
Hawaii, right? Some of you guys are out there in Hawaii. Woo, 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 woo.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. We'll start building some of this, and we'll have some big old muscles to show off out there. Well, the body's beautiful underneath. The structure, the muscular structure that moves the skeletal structure. When we are just in tune with this model, these structures, it's amazing. The shape is fabulous. This is why we're so attracted to that as a species. We're like, wow, look at that, right? So anyway, we just got to uncover some of it, right? Let's get the things that we don't need off. All right, you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
So what happens when we get all excited? Then Gabby has to be part of it. She can feel all the love. She wants some of it. So I want to just leave you guys with some words of wisdom from a Native American elder. I came across this last week, and I think it's pretty profound. And what he said was, some of my ancestors dealt with at least 400 years of these types of things under worse conditions, meaning just generally what's going on. And he said, here's my advice. Continue to do the good work. Continue to build bridges, not walls. Continue to lead with compassion. Continue the demanding work of liberation for all. Continue to dismantle broken systems, large and small. Continue to set the best example for the children, and continue to be a vessel of nourishing joy. Continue right where you are, right where you live your days, and do so in the name of the Creator, who expects nothing less from each of us. And if you are not continuing all of the above in community, partnership, or collaboration, what is it you have been doing? And what is it you are waiting for?
Right? What a great way to pause right there. No waiting. No waiting. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get busy. It's time to step up our gift and step up our energy. Here we go.
100%. 100%. So I again encourage all of you to share this recording with your friends, your loved ones, and everyone who you want to help raise the consciousness of this planet. And then I invite you to join us again on the 9th of December for our next Monday Night Magic, where Ken and I usually, it's December, we'll wear like elf hats or something obnoxious.
Let's show the spirit. Let's show the Christmas spirit, right? Let's do it December 9th. You know, let's show that Christmas spirit. I'm all in.
100%. Yes, it'll be the last one of the year. So dress up, be festive, and join us. It's going to be amazing.
Definitely share this. Please share it, guys. So some of you know my background's martial arts. I taught for decades in that arena, and my grandmaster trained under some of the Korean masters, and he said he used to call me his diamond in the rough, right? Because I was a scrapper. He called me his diamond in the rough, and he told me one day, he said, because he was cultivating me into a diamond. He wanted me to take his place, and I did. I eventually did, right, as his apprentice, and that's the whole idea of that kind of culture, is that we move on and we hand it down. And he told me, he said, Ken, he said, no, he didn't say grasshopper. He said, Ken, he said, you need only be one step ahead of your student. The master is always only one step ahead of the student. And I'm like, holy crap. Seriously? And so that's the key. You folks out there have your voice that only can be heard by a specific group of students. And you need only be one step. You're the master, one step ahead of the student. There's people that need to hear what you have to say and what you have to share. So this is the point in which we say, please share. And as you start to learn this stuff, learn it to the degree in which you can teach it, so you can teach others. I love you guys.
We love you guys. You are amazing. Gabby loves you. Ken loves you. I love you. We will see you all in December.
Love you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, you guys.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
guys.
much.
Love y'all.
Love you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Lori. Bye, Gabby. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Woohoo!
Yes,
Yes.
happy
Thanksgiving.